Hey dudes!
Morning guys!
Welcome back to a new video.
In this video, as per the previous video that we made when we talked about the good sides from the countrysides, we were in our shed when it was raining, the video up here. We mentioned all the good things and why we decided to move to countryside, and for the contrast we decided that we might complain a little and that we might also show the real sides and maybe the downsides of living in the countryside.
We have a little list of things that maybe are not our favorites here.
I guess also to consider if you're watching these videos and dreaming about living in the countryside, to just be aware of, because not all of them we were, oh, you have a butterfly.
I have a butterfly in my hand. So that's a plus, I guess. You get a butterfly.
I guess the first thing that we need to start off is the way of living in the countryside. First thing is you're gonna need to have a car. For us, it's in the downsides because we've been living these 6 years moving countries and living in the cities. We never needed to buy one, so we were getting around with public transport or walking and just planning our trips efficiently. So we were able to save money on that and never own a car. But here, if you live in a countryside like we do, where the nearest city is about 30 kilometers away, you're gonna need a car because you can't really rely on public transport here. It goes once a day and like in odd times, so you better have a car because you never know what you're gonna need. For us it would be impossible to drive to the city and back and to get all the supplies.
Yeah, even for emergencies, let's say something bad happens, like knock on wood. But yeah, you don't want to be stuck in the middle of nowhere without access to ambulance or just like minor accidents. You want to be able to go somewhere. My butterfly is still enjoying my hand. Aww.
And then the second thing, I guess ties in with the first thing, is planning your trips and planning your shopping, because pretty much everything here will take time because you have to go to the shops, you have to pick up your food. Us, for example, when we go food shopping, we as usual make a little list and figure things what we need, because if you're used to city life, it's not a big problem if you're missing an ingredient to just pop up in the shop, pick up some milk or sugar or whatever. But if you want to pick up just those little things here, you would need to go for many miles or kilometers to your closest shop. Us, for example, the closest shop is about 8 kilometers away, so it wouldn't be very efficient if we just needed a little thing.
Just like today, I was trying to wanted to try to fix our car a little bit, just like minor things. But the second I need something, it's like, well, I can't just drive there and get it and then come back. Well, I could, but it just doesn't make sense. So then we just add it to the list, and when we get enough things that it would make sense to go to the shop, nearest shop, then we would take the car. So yeah, access to different things. You have to start planning and making more lists and figure out like a little schedule and be more organized. This is number 3, I guess. See, for myself, maybe this is not going to be an issue for everyone, but for a while I kind of considered minimalism when we lived in Malta and in the city, because it's nice to have a clean space and just everything's organized. But here in the countryside, it's not gonna work because you need so many things that you don't even realize exist, I guess. Starting from, like, I don't know, even the fact that you need a chainsaw or a lawnmower, but then you need oil for a chainsaw, then you need a sharpener for the chainsaw. All these little things that like the shed is gonna get full with that you wouldn't think that you would need in the city.
Even for the gardening, we needed to buy the shovel and
the fork.
I never owned one. I never spent my own money on something like that. But then here it's like, how are you gonna do your garden if you don't have watering cans? And another thing, we didn't thankfully needed to buy them because we got gifted them. However, all these other things like the hose for the garden you would never buy for the city.
Exactly.
It's just like many things that you can't necessarily count as a minimalism, because you have to not only take care of your inside space, you also have to take care of outside space. And for whatever reason, the outside space usually takes more space because it takes more equipment to deal with, and we're just learning as we go for all these things that we need to gather and just like take care of.
Yeah, and probably this is also like a beginner's thing, but yeah, you need all the repair tools when you go to a countryside house, because let's be honest, there's 90% chance that you're not gonna like every single thing about the countryside, so you want to adjust it to your needs and you want to do some repairs, because in the city all the apartments look quite nice and ready to go.
Most of them, yeah, are ready for, if you're renting, you're probably not gonna give much thought about what paint to put on walls or what you need for, I don't know, even the furniture. It just comes as a package. As a fourth, I guess,
I think so, yeah.
is the downside would be the maintenance of the countryside, because it takes so much work that you don't necessarily anticipate until you're here. The grass grows really fast. The things need to be gathered. The firewood, for example, we have the luxury of owning our own trees that are just like lying around from the storms, or old trees that are just fell down. So it's kind of a benefit that we don't have to pay for the wood, but it's kind of a downside that we actually physically have to work to get the wood under the shed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could just heat the house on electricity if you want, but there's so many other things that the countryside expects from you. Yeah, you need to let's say even we have a little pond. You have to clean it so it doesn't grow into a little, I don't know, swamp.
Yes.
We have our own garden, which technically could be a choice, but it does make sense to have a garden here.
But for the countryside people, I think it makes much sense that you plant your own garden if you have your own land. It just kind of goes hand in hand, I suppose.
Yeah, but then you have to clean the roof of the house, or you have to paint the house with like things so that it doesn't rot.
Yeah, ours is from wood, so we need to apply the wood protection so it stays nice and fresh.
Some people might choose animals. We don't have any animals yet to take care of, but that also kind of makes sense in the countryside. So there's so many little things that you have to kind of maintain so that your countryside looks nice. But in a city apartment, well, you have to clean the house, wash the dishes. But yeah, we still have to do the same things here, plus
plus the other things that are just coming with the countryside.
Yeah, so there's just a lot more maintaining to do.
Yeah, that's one thing to take kind of consider, because you need a lot of physical strength to be able to live in the countryside. Not to say that you can't outsource some of these chores, but like if you're not, then you kind of need to think of your physical well-being to be able to maintain the lifestyle.
Okay, so the next thing kind of depends on where you're going to be located. In maybe different countries have different situations, maybe in different parts of your country, but for us, we noticed that the internet here is incredibly slow, and we can't just pretend that people don't use internet in the countryside. It's a big part of everyone's lives now.
Of course, we didn't necessarily anticipate that in 21st century that would still be a problem. Obviously 10 years ago, when the internet kind of started, it was a normal thing not to have perfect
signal.
But here these days we still have this kind of thing where in the countryside, at least in Latvia's countryside where we are, there is no signal for most telecompanies. So it's kind of on us. We need to do something about the signal strength and kind of do the maintenance, but it's not like you can just pull up your phone and have a great signal like you do in city.
Yeah, as you said, we could pay more get some small towers or the Starlink thing, but obviously it costs money. But right now, yeah, the signal is quite bad. Like for inside the house, it just barely works. And then we find several spots in the garden where it's a bit better, but the butterfly.
The butterfly's back on your leg.
But yeah, for example, when we upload a YouTube video, it might take a full day, maybe it takes 2 days.
Because sometimes when we upload, it fails for whatever reason because of the signal was so weak. We have to start all over again. But obviously, it might not be something you deal with, but that's definitely something we have.
Yeah, look at that thing. And speaking of little butterflies that sit on your hand, there's gonna be some nice wildlife here. We talked about it a lot, but there's also bugs.
Not so welcome animals, I
Yeah,
suppose.
exactly. What else do we have here?
Oh God. Okay, so if we speak about the unwelcome animals or creatures or whichever, we have first of all mosquitoes. They are swamping us.
Yeah.
Or swarming us. It's like once the sun goes down, or even if you go in a little shadow, the whole army of them are attacking you, and no mosquito repellent spray will help you. At least it didn't help us. So it can be a little bit bothering because not only they try to suck your blood, after they leave like pimples that are very itchy, and you can't get rid of them for days. So that's not very nice. It can be a little bit annoying. But that's one thing. Those are the little things. But then also in the countryside, we have snakes. We have met snake. We have met baby snake. She was thankfully dead. But then our friends,
Yeah.
our family for that matter, they saw a snake in our
Basement?
basement. Yes, during our midsummer celebration. Thankfully, we didn't see the snake, but we believe it was there. So that's something to consider. We have very great environment for them. We have nice pond, very grown in grass, and absolute jungle of bushes. So it's perfect for them. Also, we have rodents and rats, possibly. I'm sure we do. I haven't seen one yet because we're in a summer season. Usually they arrive in your house in the autumn, so we'll see for that. We have ants in the garden and on the house foundation as well. They are roaming around, which is not great.
And you can't kill them. Like I'm trying to get rid of them from the house, but yeah, there's like, as I said, there's 3 trillion different bugs species that I've never seen in my life before. Instead of having a spider, we have like 10,000 species of spiders here. Everyone looks differently. So yeah, the nature life that you might not enjoy is tons of here. The only thing we don't have inside the house that I was expecting is flies.
They somehow are escaping us.
Yeah, because even in Malta, in the apartment, we had tons of flies inside the house, which was so annoying. And they usually come up in the summer, and this is summer and I haven't seen any, so that's great news.
And then there are those wasps.
Yeah.
And then even bigger wasps. I don't know how they are called.
Like a guy wasp.
And then the last on our list is the possibility of employment or unemployment for that matter, because I think in the countryside you kind of have to figure how you're gonna make income more than you would in the city, because here you're not gonna have like 1 million vacancies laying around. So for that you need to know whether you're gonna make money with your land, or whether you're gonna farm or grow some animals, or what's gonna be the plan for the money. Because if you go work here, you need to take into consideration how far the workplace is gonna be, because here there is no city, so you would need to go far.
And of course you could just say, hey, work from home, it's 2022. But as we mentioned, we don't have internet connection, so that we would be securely be able to work from home. So that kind of, until we would get like a super good router or anything that would give us really good internet, until then you can't just work from home, at least not from here.
And even though working from home seems like a great option here in Latvia, actually from what I've heard and kind of researched online, it's still more mixed than working remotely. It's like you have to be at work 2 days a week and then 3 days from home or whatever. So here is not like that many opportunities of actual remote work, which would be also easier for the city folk, because if you have to be at work for 3 days and then or whichever the ratio, you would still need to be at the office at some point. Whereas here, if you want to work in Riga, you would need to, I don't know, it's just impossible to make that work.
Yeah, commute 3-4 hours every day, and then another 3 hours to come back just to do that hybrid working. So yeah,
it's not maybe as big of an option either. Hope it wasn't too daunting to watch all these points that we have written down. This is just some first acknowledgements that we have made in these couple months since we are in the countryside, and so hopefully that can be useful. If anything else, it could make you think about solutions, because we have all these things and we are thinking about solutions rather than just writing the whole lifestyle down.
All right guys, so this is our downside things. Check the good stuff that we made before and that we're going to continue making. If you enjoyed this video and if you want to move to a countryside, you can leave a like. If you want to see what we're going to do next in our countryside life, you can subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.